Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Just Because Wrestling. And it's been a while. It's
I feel like we start every show with this.
I do, yeah. But look, we've been.
That's the lay of the land.
Yeah,
now.
life is busy. I just finished my final year of college, so I was quite busy for the last couple of weeks. But look, we're fitting in an episode. We made sure to get an important one in. We decided to not do one for WrestleMania Backlash because
who cares?
Because
it ended up being a good show.
Yeah, but you could have listened to our WrestleMania episode and gotten a rundown of the card.
Yes,
so
yeah.
we were like, "Do you know what? Is there a point?" Plus combining that with the fact that we were quite busy.
Very busy. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're bringing it back this week for Double or Nothing, AEW Double or Nothing. Their big pay per view. Would you call it their biggest pay per view of the year? It's hard to pick their biggest pay per view.
I think All Out. I would pick All Out out of everything because
Yeah.
I think All Out is where the concept of AEW began. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I'd pick All Out if I was to pick one. But certainly, if All Out is WrestleMania, Double or Nothing is SummerSlam. It's their second biggest show, and it's often their best show.
Yeah.
And like Double or Nothing was AEW's first ever show, technically. If you're not counting All In, Double or Nothing was the inaugural AEW show. So it's like kind of the anniversary of AEW.
Exactly. Their episode, they're billing it as such, is their Dynamite tomorrow night is they're calling it the 3-year anniversary in Vegas, or Vegas anniversary or something like that. So because they run Vegas every year every week or every year this week. So yeah, that's actually worth noting, is that we are recording this before AEW Dynamite, which is going in tomorrow, so we don't have the full proper breakdown of the card, as in it's not finalized, but we have a fairly good idea of what the card's going to be. And like, there are some matches that haven't been fully announced, but we know they're going to happen.
Yeah. There's a few things, right? A few things I want to start with.
Yeah. Okay.
Get news and notes out of the way.
Yeah, because I was about to get into it, but I have a feeling you're about to say exactly what I was about to say. But go on in.
Well, there's two things, right?
Two big stories.
The major elephant in the room, really, is the Sasha Banks, Naomi.
Because I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking about this for a while, and I want to talk about this.
It seems like a very strange situation.
So
I think both parties have not handled it well.
No, and this is the thing, right? And I was going through this yesterday in my head, right? Because there are certain facts that we know, and there are certain assumptions that are being made as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So we know, so if you don't know, last week on Raw, Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out of the show. They dropped the WWE Women's Tag Team titles on John Laurinaitis' desk and left. Apparently, we don't know for certain yet, but apparently the reason for this was because they want better representation of the women's division in WWE, which is fair enough. Okay, that's an admirable cause, I guess. But there's a few things that I think have to be addressed. Because there's two facts, first of all, that we do have to kind of, that I think don't help Sasha and Naomi's argument. One, they were champions. Can't ignore that fact. Granted, the women's tag team titles in WWE are probably the least prestigious titles in wrestling, but granted, they were still champions, won them at WrestleMania in a big moment.
Yeah. They
were being fairly represented, and kind of strongly, more strongly to that point, I would say, is they were in the main event of the show. Which is a fact, because that was being advertised before they walked out. They were going to be in the main event. The one thing that I think people are reporting that I don't know if it's true or not because of the circumstances is that Naomi was in fact going to win that match and become the number one contender for the Raw Women's Championship. Yep. I don't know. I don't believe that's true. I don't think that's true at all.
Well, it was reported by Fightful Select, which makes me believe that it was true, because Fightful rarely get these things wrong.
Yeah, but my whole thing is, it didn't make sense to me at all. The fact that Asuka and Becky were so intertwined with the women's title anyway, I figured that, because the triple threat is announced now, I figured that was going to be the direction the whole time anyway, unless they were planning on doing Asuka and Becky as a non-title match, like a singles feud at Hell in a Cell, and then having Naomi and having whoever won that come out as the number one contender.
Well, what I was thinking was that they'd have Naomi win it to kind of scupper both Sasha and Becky's plans. Then you have the beloved trope of WWE of pairing Becky and Asuka together to take on Sasha and Naomi.
That's a good point as well. That could have happened, but
and apparently, like, this is what I'm just reading, and like I've read kind of the same reports that you've had, but apparently that was the gripe that, what's the point of them having the tag titles when they're going to be put into singles feuds, which is a valid argument.
No, it is. It's completely valid. Because again, like I said, the women's tag titles are the most pointless titles in WWE's entire women's division.
Yeah.
The one thing I can't wrap my head around is if Naomi was meant to win that match and become the number one contender, like, why walk out? I understand it's for like the bigger picture. It's for like the greater good of the women's division. I understand that, and I get, like, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying what Sasha Banks and Naomi did was wrong. I think it could have been handled better.
Yeah.
But I think what WWE has done since has totally eclipsed what they've done in terms of wrongness.
I think both parties have come off badly in the situation.
Yeah.
And it's very similar to Austin. I said that to you, where, I saw a lot of people this week, kind of saying it's a work. They're mentioning it on TV. It's a work and all that. But like they did that with Austin too, where they
brought the Rock back.
And they did, like, to take his ball and went home. And I think there's three very similar cases. Now, this being one of them.
Yeah.
Austin being one of them, and Punk being the other. But the way they handled Punk was a lot different to the way they handled these two.
It was a lot quieter.
It was a lot quieter, and it was arguably the best way they did it. Now, again, you can also argue that Punk's ended up getting the ugliest because that went to court and lawsuits and things followed from that, and that's probably part of the reason why they stayed quiet at the time, because they probably knew, look, we haven't been treating this guy really good, and like, whereas Austin's and Naomi's and Sasha's was more to do with creative.
Yeah.
But their gripes were creative, whereas Punk's was more the way he was handled and treated and medically and and so on and so forth. But it's again, it's one of these things. You need to. I think you need all the facts before we can make.
Yeah, we haven't heard
definitive opinion.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from Naomi or Sasha themselves, or from WWE other than saying that they let everyone down and all this kind of nonsense that, like, they're trying to this propaganda that they're trying to spread, that they upped and walked out on their responsibilities and stuff. But, like, it'll be interesting to see now what happens now after this, because they're still listed currently on the roster page. They haven't been fired or released or anything yet. Yeah. Sasha, I think what's interesting is Sasha asked for her release back in 2019, and she wasn't granted it. It'll be interesting to see what happens now. Will she request it again? Will they just go out and fire her?
She just signed a new contract, though.
She just signed a new contract, and a large contract, that, from what we can gather. But another thing that I want to say, and like,
but see, like, we could say the thing, and I'll let you get back to your point, but I think it's just important to highlight as well is that WWE are safe in this regard, because them not performing their duties is a breach of contract.
Oh, I know, I know that. Look, I'm not saying that there's about to be a big court case. There's they didn't, in a way, WWE are correct in that they didn't do.
And if WWE wanted to stop paying Sasha, I think they legally can, because it's a breach of contract, and they can also tie up Sasha in a sense that she couldn't work for anyone else.
Yeah, for probably 5 years.
Yeah, so I think it's till the end of the duration of her contract anyway. But
then you get legal, because she's probably trying to get out of her contract. But
I do think I think cooler heads will prevail. I think they'll end up.
Yeah. I think they'll be back.
Like Austin, it happened with Austin. Austin ended up coming back, and Austin to this day always says it was the worst mistake he ever made, was walking out.
And this is according to Fightful Select as well. Is like you said, they are a reputable source. So they were saying apparently there's no immediate plans for Sasha and Naomi's return. Like, they don't have anything.
Oh no, well, like, you wouldn't. It's
So I think it's kind of the ball is in your court kind of thing. Like, you want to walk out, fine. But like
how long was Austin out when he left?
When in 2002.
Yeah.
So he left probably around July, was it? And then came back. Because it was around the King of the Ring he left, wasn't it? Because remember it was
a qualifying match. That's what it was.
Yeah, so I think it was around June, July he left, and then was he back by November? Was it Survivor Series? Or was that the following year? Do you remember the Bischoff thing? Was that the following year?
No, the Bischoff Austin, like Team Bischoff versus Team Austin.
Yeah.
That was the following year because that was when Austin was after retiring.
Right. Well, he was back sooner than that. Anyway.
He wrestled Bischoff in his return.
Yeah, because I remember the Rock match at 19 was the following year. So
that was the match. But I think it might have been. Was it No Way Out? No.
February.
Yeah, and he
could have been. I can't remember off the top.
I know, like, his return was very short, and he retired. Then, like, he only came back and wrestled a couple of more times. It might have been No Way Out. We could easily look it up.
Yeah. But the other thing I wanted to say, and this is something that, like, it kind of just grinds my gears a little bit, and it just kind of, I don't understand it, right? Because we're wrestling fans, right? That's obvious. That's quite apparent. But like, one thing you can kind of say universally about wrestling fans is they're passionate, and you know, they support who they want to support. They obviously all have their favorites, right? And we've talked about this ourselves privately and on the show about Sasha Banks fans in particular, right? They are ridiculous. They are like they take the term passionate to a whole new level, right? But what I want to
it's borderline fucking
insanity. Yes. But what I want to say is this nonsense that, like, you know, like, fair enough, if Sasha Banks and Naomi stood up for what they believe in, that's cool. You know, that's if they want to take a stand for what they believe in and you know, risk their jobs and their livelihood to make a point, that's totally admirable. I get that, you know, and they are role models in a sense. But you think, honestly, like, if you break it down, do you think WWE care if Sasha Banks and Naomi leave in the great?
Well, this whole nonsense about, like, I've seen brilliant lines this week about like, WWE needs Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks doesn't need.
This is my thing. I saw that tweet.
Come on now.
I saw that tweet.
You know?
No, I saw that tweet and I went, that is ridiculous. That is the most stupid statement I've ever seen. Sasha, you know, half it's true. Sasha Banks may not need WWE. She may not, but WWE certainly don't need Sasha Banks. Like,
you could argue WWE don't need anyone.
I literally had this conversation with myself last night, right? WWE don't need anyone bar one person. Well, and even at that, I don't even know if they need that person particularly, but the only person who's been a constant for the last 50 or so years has been Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
When Vince eventually leaves WWE in whatever capacity that is, you know, then it'll be interesting. Then it'll be interesting.
That's what he's going to leave WWE.
Yeah.
He's wheeled out his desk with a white sheet over him.
That'll be interesting because then it'll be interesting to see what the transition period is like in the company. But, like, Roman Reigns can get fired in the morning and WWE's going to keep putting out shit. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's been WWE's effort since since The Rock is they've no longer positioned themselves where it's about one star. It's about the brand. It's about WWE. It's not The Rock's coming to town. And let's go see him anymore. Yeah. It's not about Hulk Hogan's coming to town. Let's go see him. It's the WWE are in town.
Yeah.
Let's go see him. It's about the brand. It's about not just the one person anymore because they got burnt harshly with The Rock.
Yeah.
And like leaving for Hollywood and all that. And even though you could argue, you know, they did it like with Cena, but there was like Cena was the guy, but he wasn't bigger than the WWE brand by that time. I think the WWE brand had eclipsed everyone, and I think that's like there's no one now bigger than the company.
No, there isn't.
And like you know, I don't think there's like it's not as if one person has ever left any company and the company has like closed operations.
You know what I mean? This is my point, right? At the very, very basic understanding of it, right? If you want to break it down into total, you know, just total basic terms, right? Sasha Banks and Naomi are employees. They're workers. They just work there, right?
Yeah. Very good employees.
They're brilliant. Yeah. Like, they're assets to the company. Would you rather have them in your employ? Absolutely. I would. Yeah. Like, you'd rather have them on the roster than to your competitors.
Are they essential to the survival of the business?
You and me, right? Yeah. You and me are... We have jobs. We work for big companies, right? The two of us.
Yeah.
Like, I like to think we're good work. I like to think that we do good jobs. Yeah. But if we, you know, decide to leave in the morning, we're leaving in the morning. We're not coming back to this place.
Sometimes I think if I don't log on my laptop, anyone would know.
Like, the thing is, this is the thing, right? If I don't show up to my next shift, right, they'll be like, "Where is he?" Yeah. And then they'll be like,
the cog, like, the wheel keeps going.
Yeah, they'll, like, you're in the grand scheme of things, unless you are the money, the brain, like, unless literally everything runs through you, then you're not that important in the grand scheme of things in a company. If you want to be cold-hearted and business-minded about it, like, you can leave a company and the company might be like... The company will be like, okay, you know, if you we'd rather have you here, but if you want to leave, that's your choice. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, but...
And, like, you know, again, it goes back to the thing. Hogan left, Brett left.
This is my thing. Everyone's left.
You know, Austin left, Rock left, Cena is part-time, Punk has left. The wheel keeps going. They will keep pushing new stars. I mean?
It's only a matter of time till
Mox left. Yeah. You know,
it's only a matter of time till Roman leaves. Roman will eventually leave. Yeah. And you think WWE is going to shut down?
Stephanie McMahon is left this week. Shane left a few months ago. These are Vince's kids. left. And the wheel keeps going.
This is the thing.
Triple H is gone. Yeah. NXT is imploded. Like, all of NXT's staff is gone. You know, like, it's...
So this is my thing. This is, if you're a Sasha Banks fan listening to this, and not just a Sasha Banks fan, because we're Sasha Banks fans. We like Sasha Banks, but we like her the responsible amount. So, like, if you're one of these maniacs who thinks that WWE needs Sasha Banks to survive, false, because Sasha Banks could never wrestle another match ever again, and wrestling would continue. Do you know what I mean? Like,
here's also things I've seen, and this might annoy people as well, what I'm about to say, but I've also seen people say we're about to get this moment with Sasha, and it's Scott Hall turning up on WCW, as in Sasha turning up on AEW, and I'm like, hold on there, right? First off, have you seen AEW's women's division, right? Second of it off, right? She's very good.
Yeah, she is. No, she's brilliant. She's one of the best in the world. Don't get me wrong.
But, like, CM Punk is there.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan is there. Bryan Danielson, right? Like, Mox is there. Jericho. Yeah. They've all been there. And I wouldn't even say any of them were the Scott Hall... shifted it like Scott Hall turning up in WCW did. So... Sasha isn't doing it.
Sasha's not.
Sasha might go and might up the level of the women's division. As I said, she probably won't. She'll probably end up back in WWE. First off, because she's not going to make the money in AEW as WWE are willing to pay her.
Yeah.
Second off, I don't think she'll be able to get out of her contract, especially since she's breached it.
Yeah.
She has nothing to kind of... she has no leg to stand on, really. So, you know... but saying that she's going to be Scott Hall,
no, she's not. I'm sorry, but like that Scott Hall moment, like that won't happen.
I don't think that Scott Hall moment exists anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
There's not one guy, because again, going back to what I said about the brand being more than the guy, AEW is very much like that as well. You know, AEW are pushing AEW, you're not pushing, you know.
Cody Rhodes left AEW, one of the founding members of the company, one of the EVPs, one of the elite guys, left to go back to WWE. AEW is still working. It still goes. It's still happening. Do you know what I mean? Like
Kenny Omega
hasn't been on TV. Yeah, he hasn't been on TV in months.
Wheel keeps going. Now you can argue that the quality of the show is declining.
Yeah, you can argue that's not spinning as fast, but like
that could be but it's still spinning.
This is the thing, like it takes a lot more than one person or two people leaving the company to cease operations. You know what I mean? WWE have how many people?
Unless Titan Towers catches on fire tomorrow and kills everyone, I think we're okay.
And this is the thing, like, the only person I think is essential to the company is Vince McMahon, just because he is WWE and has been for so many years.
Yeah.
But
and Vince, you could argue maybe Kevin Dunn on the production side of things, because like
even at that, but I guess my
you can get a new production.
But no, my point.
You can't get a new Vince.
But even at that, like, I think when Vince eventually goes again, in whatever capacity that is, like, you know, I still think WWE is gonna run. It's still gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
It just like, it might be very different to what we're accustomed to. But point is, Sasha Banks and Naomi, like, could they have handled it better? Possibly. Could WWE have handled it better? Absolutely. But, you know, in the grand scheme of things, the pitchforks and torches being lit by people is a bit, you know, overzealous, let's say, because, like, realistically, they'll be back in probably, in a couple of weeks, maybe months. But one thing I did see, and it was quite funny, was it was like one of the I think it was Matt Hardy. Do you remember when Matt Hardy debuted in AEW? Yeah. And he was like just up in the stands by himself. Yeah. And it was like Jimmy Uso waiting for his lift after the show.
Very good. Yeah. So on to the second piece of news.
I don't know what this is. I assume that would not Sasha Naomi.
Who had this on their wrestling 2022 bingo card, because the Nature Boy
woo
is lacing up the boots one more time. And did you see one of the how would you say, not benefactors, but one of the key
financiers,
something like that, someone who working sponsors for the thing, because I know it's Conrad, it's part of Starcast, he's promoting it, but so one of the guys involved in that works for Conrad let slip who possibly,
I think I have a feeling who it is
the opponent, because he said in an interview, I forget who it was now, but he said in an interview, he was like, I'm very excited to see Flair lace him up, or he said something along the lines of very excited to see both of them finally lace the boots back up again. And then when he was asked who he was referring to, he said Flair and Hogan.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Hulk Hogan. So...
yeah, I don't know about that.
And then when he was asked, does that mean Flair or Hogan's would be in the match as well? The colour drained from his face. Because he obviously realised he was saying something that no one knows. So, my guess is that we're probably going to get some sort of a six-man. Like, if Hogan and Flair aren't wrestling one-on-one, like, you can't. You just can't. Apparently, what I've read is going to be Flair and FTR.
Okay. And
I don't know. We're going to have Hogan in some capacity. I don't know who the two nifty guys are. The Briscoes.
Yeah, I don't know. Look, this shouldn't be happening.
I've seen two arguments for it, right? I've seen people say, shouldn't happen.
It shouldn't.
You know, like, I've seen people say, it shouldn't. But then I've seen people say, fucking Jerry Lawler gets in there every weekend and wrestles.
Yeah.
Which is a fair argument.
I guess.
Because Jerry Lawler also was legally dead 10 years ago. And he still gets in there and wrestles.
Yeah.
So, and like, Terry Funk, if he wasn't in a retirement home somewhere, would still be lacing him up if he could. Dory Funk, I'm sure, still laces him up every couple of times a year.
Yeah.
The Midnight Express still lace him up. You can do it. You can, but... My only concern would be Flair's health issues. He almost died 3 years ago. Hogan's a different story. Hogan's had fucking as many back surgeries as I had naps. Like,
Hogan came out last year and said that he can't ever wrestle again. He said that his hip was fused to his back or some shit. Like,
I thought that was Matt Hardy said that.
Matt Hardy said that too, but Hogan has something similar. Hogan
his hip was fused with his pelvis or something.
Yeah, Hogan's got something similar where he's physically incapable. He can barely move, let alone have a match.
But see, my thing also is, like, I saw a lot of people saying, "Oh, like, oh, Hogan must be coming back." Like people were saying, or people. I've seen people like say, "Oh, Hogan must need the money, right?" But like Hogan wrestled for TNA, and he's documented that when he was going through his divorce.
Yeah.
When did he wrestle last? It was like 2013 or something like that.
Yeah.
He wrestled those kind of last matches when he was bollocks, when he needed surgeries and all that, but he needed the money because he was going through a divorce. And didn't he settle with Gawker like fucking like a year ago for $50 million or something?
I don't know.
You know Gawker who leaked his sex tape.
Yeah.
Like he settled for.
I remember that actually. Yeah, I don't remember what the amount was. I remember hearing about the settlement, but
it's not as if he needs the money.
Yeah.
Like, I know Ric Flair will need the money. He's going through his fucking 12th divorce.
Wasn't there a thing though that he wasn't? They were never legally married or something.
Yeah, but then I told you he still signed over half his assets to her. Like a fucking Egypt.
And he also bought a dog to buy a dog walker. It looks like
he hired a dog walker. Like I was listening to Conrad Thompson, and he was saying that they went to Ric Flair's 73rd birthday party. 73rd now, not an important one. And he said he hired out a private jet for a 73rd birthday party. Like, man, you're going like he. And the thing about the robes as well, where he lost all his favourite robes in the divorce and then paid a fortune to get them remade, and has lost all those in his divorce.
Yeah, Ric Flair's like a walking meme at this point, you know what I mean? He's...
Yeah, and like I don't know.
I think that's why Charlotte's taking a leave of absence now from WB to convince her dad not to wrestle.
Well, she's getting married herself, but...
Is she?
Yeah,
to Andrade.
Andrade. That's why she's out. They've got married.
Congratulations to them.
They're on their honeymoon. I think that's why she's out.
There, fair enough.
Ric Flair is his own worst enemy. Like you talk about someone, right?
You leave someone to their own devices long enough.
No, but like talk about someone who he had the perfect retirement in wrestling.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. Yeah.
He had the greatest retirement in wrestling history. You know, went off the biggest fucking stadium, biggest stage, you know, like, what a fucking moment. And because of his own stupidity and like, financially, he was forced to come back with TNA and ruin that moment. And now he's back again.
Yeah. I saw a thing and I was like, when the news first broke that he was going to be coming back for a match, people were like, "Oh, who should Ric Flair's opponent be?" And someone replied, Shawn Michaels in 2008.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, well, "Yeah, that's fair." I mean, like you said, it was the perfect retirement. It was one of the most heartbreaking, heartwarming moments in wrestling. Yeah. And then
that's the thing that still gets played to this day.
Yeah. And then whored himself out, you know, what was it, like 3 years later? Less, probably. But,
less, no, it wasn't. It was like, I think it was like
2010, I think.
18 months, like, I think it wasn't that much.
He was wrestling Foley. But,
in taking thumbs, or fucking barbed wire fucking bumps.
Yeah. But, I mean, like, this is the thing, right? If you're an actual wrestler, like a wrestler in your prime, you're going to refuse this. You're not going to, you're like, oh, well, like, as in a one-on-one match, for example. You're going to be like, I'm not wrestling Ric Flair. Like, like, you know, that 73-year-old Ric Flair, wrestling 53-year-old Ric Flair was dodgy enough. Wrestling him now is, you know, I don't want to, like, he could genuinely get, you know, he could die.
Yeah.
And, like...
Did you see, it was revealed during the week that Ricky Steamboat turned down the opportunity to be his opponent. Like he, at least he has a bit of fucking sense, like.
Yeah, but this is my thing, like, I mean, like,
what are they gonna do? Go in there and wrestle wrestle an hour? It's literally the wrestler, Mickey Rourke.
It's worse. It's worse than the wrestler.
It's Randy the Ram, like.
It's worse than the wrestler because, like, you know, like, Randy the Ram was like. Joe, it was like Joe, when you get released, like when you go into your Legends contract, he was like Ric Flair in like 2010.
Yeah,
that was it. Do you know what I mean? That was like after his big retirement, and then he goes on to the Indies, and you know, he's kind of trying to make ends meet and all this kind of stuff. That was Randy the Ram. This is Randy the Ram. 20 years. This is Randy the Ram 10 years later. 10 years after the fact.
He's like a wrestler too. Like, yeah, it's look.
It's stupid. Like, it shouldn't be.
It will draw eyeballs.
People will.
It will.
But for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
No one's going to be like, oh, yes, a Ric Flair match. This is what I've craved for so long.
Like, no one's been shouting out for a Ric Flair match.
No one's been like, oh, Ric Flair at 73 years old. I bet he's still got it. He should come back.
Yes. But I would remind you, we were having this conversation about Austin mere 3 months ago.
Yes. Yes. But I'm also saying that
but Austin is at an age where he can.
Austin's in his 50s. He's jacked to the fucking eyeballs. Yeah. And he worked a match where, like, he didn't have to do much.
Yeah.
And he's also been spending the last 20 years getting surgery to make sure that he can't cripple himself. And, like Ric Flair, you look at Steve Austin, you look at Ric Flair, and you're like, all right, who's not going to be an insurance liability here? Like, you know what I mean?
I just think it's amazing, right? If you look at a year and a half ago, maybe, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, if you said there is still one more match in Steve Austin, Sting, Ric Flair, CM Punk, like, you know, like all these people who you just assume were never going to wrestle again.
Yeah.
Like,
Sting, I think Sting's probably the most surprising one because he's wrestled like regularly over the last like.
Sting is amazing.
Yeah.
Sting fucking jumping off balconies
Maybe
on a regular basis.
Maybe it's gonna be Sting and Flair.
Finally getting back for all those. I'd love if it was just. It ended up being like Bret Hart and Vince, where it's just an uncomfortable beating for 20 minutes. Sting just beating the shit out of him.
All the Flair kids.
Here's for Slamboree 96.
Charlotte and fucking. They all come out and they're like, oh no. Wendy. But, where's my alimony?
Fucking Ric Flair. It's a lumberjack match with fucking just Ric Flair's ex-wives staying around ringside.
No, I mean, it shouldn't happen, not in my opinion. I think there is a line, you know what I mean? There's like an invisible line with like retired wrestlers about how far you can push them, and you just, you know.
Well, to be fair, you're saying how far you can push him. I don't think anyone's pushing Rick to do this. It's not as if WWE are turning around and wheeling.
No, but my point is like, why is Conrad Thompson, his son-in-law, sanctioning this? Why are people actually going out of their way to do this?
People will pay to see it. And I also think you raise a good point about Conrad Thompson being family. I think it will be done safely. Like, I think Rick will get in there. No,
he's looking at that inheritance.
He will, but it's not even that. Inheritance. Conrad Thompson has more money than Ric Flair does.
That's true.
Fucking inheritance. So, I'm gonna inherit all this debt to this old bastard that accumulated. Like, fucking.
Yeah, that's true. His inheritance is a negative.
If you're Conrad Thompson, you want to keep Ric Flair alive as much as possible. That's why you're wheeling him out to the ring. You have to pay off his fucking debt before you die.
His inheritance is in negative equity.
Yeah, like, Ric Flair croaking, the repo men would be taking to the Conrads and
taking off his Apple Watch and his roll
of the same price. Oh god.
Oh Jesus. No, I mean, like, I saw that it's a rumor that it was Hulk Hogan. I mean, I suppose if you're gonna walk on ice, you might as well dance. So, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if we're gonna go down, we're gonna go down in the place of glory.
Yeah.
And when you pass up the charger there, it should be a long cord. It's like a laptop charger.
This one, potentially.
Yes, that's it. But yeah. So I'll be interested. Like, you can plug it. Oh no, keep it in. Actually, it's fine. But yeah. So the Nature Boy.
Woo!
Is going to become the Nature Old Man.
Nature Boy no longer. Nature Pensioner.
Nature OAP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, we'll wait and see. I'll report on it accordingly.
Now, the cool thing is, it's did you see it's Jim Crockett Promotions, the Union show. Like, it's going to be.
All right. It's
billed as ECW One Night Stand with Jim Crockett Promotions. They have all the licensed music.
That's cool.
All the licensed. Like, Dave Crockett's going to be involved, Tony Schiavone's going to be involved. Like,
that's pretty
all
cool.
The old people.
Old people, like, being the prime word there.
Like the Rock and Roll Express would be involved. I wouldn't surprise me if Jim Cornette's involved.
He'll definitely report that the match is like outstanding. This is what wrestling should be.
Meltzer gives it fucking 12 stars.
Yeah.
So yeah, is there anything else? Well, I think the big news we've kind of touched on about Stephanie.
Yeah, Stephanie has taken a leave of absence from the company
Very strange situation.
Yeah.
I saw Mike Johnson reporting that there is a concrete reason as to why she's taking her absence, but that will not be revealed. So.
Yeah, I thought that's like spend time with her family and stuff, but I mean, who knows? I mean.
But like Mike Johnson was like they're being very, very tight-lipped on it. So.
Hope everything's okay.
I hope everything's okay. I hope it's not anything kind of,
because immediately I think of like Triple H and his heart. Do you know what I mean? So I'm like,
yeah, but I think that would be out there now if he was having any issues. He was at WrestleMania. He left
I know.
boots in the thing. He's fine.
Yeah.
Triple H is fine.
Please God, let him be fine.
No, I don't know. Like you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Nick Khan seems to be fucking
puppeteer.
Yeah. So you don't know.
He's like the evil stepdad or evil stepmom, just breaking up families.
Yeah, so it's we just have to kind of wait and see what plays out with that. But without further ado, we might as well get into the big one.
Double or new thing. Double or new thing. Yeah, so it's a as AEW pay-per-views tend to be now. It's a pretty stacked card. Like there's a lot of matches, and like I said, there's some matches that I'm going to be speculating are going to happen, but I don't know if they will, but they probably will.
Now, I was saying to you before we recorded, I do think AEW has dropped off
in quality.
Terms of quality since Revolution. I think
it's been.
You could argue since All Out or Full Gear. But
I don't know. Like, don't get me wrong. There's been segments where I've gone, that was good, or like there's been matches where I've gone, that was pretty good.
Yeah,
but there's
like as I was saying to you before we went on. I think if you were making a top 10 list of bad segments in AEW, I think 6 of them probably have happened in the last 3 months. Like,
which isn't good.
I think there's a lot more. Like, I think AEW starting off was like, we're for the fans. We're doing everything that
we are a wrestling show.
No, yeah, but it's like we're doing everything that the fans want. We're doing it for the fans, made by fans, for the fans. All this. Now as they're becoming more established as a company, they're becoming more and more WWE. Like being like, no, we'll tell you what you like.
You don't deviate from the script.
You don't like Sammy and Ty. No, you're gonna like them.
You're gonna learn to like
them.
Eat your green beans. But
I think there's a lot more stuff that fans dislike now, and they haven't addressed it.
Yeah, but this was the thing, and this is the novelty of kind of new things, you know what I mean? Like that, like it was new and fresh, and like it was this new wrestling company that was going to challenge WWE, and everyone was like, oh, it's going to be so different, and it's going to be this whole new feel. And look, we've spoken for hours at this point about all the things that they promised and didn't deliver on, but like it was going to be this and this, and then it's a wrestling company. How different can it possibly be? And
like I said, because I said this at the start, like it might have been our year review show like that. I did expect AEW that the ball was going to drop. Like it couldn't have keep up this kind of consistent. But and as it's growing, and I think now they have 2 live shows a week. Yeah.
And then 2 dark shows.
Creativity is getting thinner. Yeah. Now they want to honor.
The roster's getting larger. And
and like, it's starting to thin out. And, the, how would you say, like, the new car smell is kind of worn off.
Exactly,
now, where
it's good at,
And, like, and you're starting to see...
the tire's gone flat.
And
the engine light is flashing.
You're starting to see like not everything's rosy in the camp, or not one big happy family. Like the war Cody left. There's the issues with MJF. There's other. You had people like Big Swole and stuff leave, and then there are issues around that, and so it's not all the one big happy family that they were. And like a lot of people at the time had said, don't be fooled by that. I feel like I remember Justin Credible when we interviewed him said that like that. don't be fooled by this whole thing about, we're one big happy family.
Yeah. Look at us all at the barbecue.
Yeah, it's like, it's wrestling.
Yeah.
You're always going to get tension.
There's always going to be egos. There's always going to be people who think that they deserve more.
Yeah.
And, like, the thing is, right, like, like I said, like, it's a wrestling company. How different can you possibly be? Because, like, you look at WWE, which is obviously the most successful execution of that. You want to follow that model.
Yeah.
You don't want to deviate from that. Because, like, you deviate from it, you make it... You're like, okay, like, let's look at Impact, right, for example, in the early days, right? They were like, we want to do a wrestling company, but we want to do it, we want to do weekly pay-per-views. And everyone was like, okay, but, like, that doesn't seem financially, stable, but okay. And then it was like, okay, we won't do that because, like you said, not good money-wise, so we're going to make the ring 6 sides instead of 4. And everyone was like, again, alright, it's a bit strange, but go for it. Like, but, like, my point is that, like, you can deviate a small bit, make it unique enough that, like, people can recognize your product, but, like, at the end of the day, it's a wrestling company.
Yeah.
Same way, like, you go into a restaurant, you know what a restaurant is.
Yeah.
But, like, different restaurants have different feels to them, different vibes. They're slightly different to other restaurants. But you go into...
It's still a restaurant.
It's still a restaurant.
Yeah. You know what the experience is going to be.
You know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You're going to go down, show your table, your waiter's going to come down, ask for your order.
Starters, main course.
Dessert. You got to get your bill, you're going to leave. And you're probably going to be happy about it. Or you're going to be unhappy about it. But either way, it's going to be the same experience. It's the same experience every time.
Yeah.
And you like to think that it was different, but you break it down. It's not that different.
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing with AEW. That's what's happening now. Is people are realizing, wait a second, this isn't the savior company we thought that it was going to be.
I think I'm keeping to your restaurant analogy. AEW came along and we're a restaurant that are going to do dessert first. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, what? Like, they promised.
Okay, that sounds cool, but
they promised they promised too much shit.
You're gonna serve the waiter. You decide what's on the menu. Yeah, that's literally what it was. It's like you go into a restaurant.
We cook in the tables and you eat in the kitchen.
No, it was like we cater to the fans. So basically, you come in, you just tell us what you want, and we'll just make it up as we go. And like, I mean, look, AEW is very good at the majority of times, but like. It's like you said, the new car smell has worn off, I think, and people are like, okay, it's a
wrestling company.
You've made it past the infancy of it. Like now we're into the toddler years, and let's see how far they can get without knocking their head into the wall. But
yeah. Now that being said, I think this just for how poor, like the build up has been, or the last kind of 2 months of AEW has been, I think this is a massive show for AEW.
Yeah.
Because I think every pay-per-view so far, every pay-per-view so far has been good to great. I thought there's
been no stinkers. Like
there's been no. The only one that comes to mind is the barbed wire death match, but that was just a match.
Yeah. No, the whole pay-per-view as a whole was pretty good.
Yeah. So this is the pivotal moment now where you could get a bad pay-per-view here.
And the thing is, and the problem with AEW is they don't have like the network where you're paying $9.99 a month for unlimited content. You're paying
giving money.
€25 for a one-off.
And here's the other thing, right? Their deal is coming up soon.
With TNT?
Yes, with Turner. And Turner have now merged with Discovery. So Discovery has bought Turner. So Turner, the guy who was responsible for, he was like I think he might have been the CEO, who was Tony Khan's connection to get AEW onto the network, is now gone from TNT.
Yeah, so he'll have to start again, really.
And it's like starting again. And Eric Bischoff always says that the downfall of WCW was when they merged with AOL.
Yeah.
When Turner merged with AOL at the time, because that ended up being a shit show. But like, Ted Turner was the only guy in Turner Broadcasting who was pushing to keep WCW on, And then when they merged, he was pushed out. He wasn't actually in control.
Yeah.
And WCW lost all their power of negotiation power and left. And you could draw parallels here. And if you're not turning up a good enough product, they could be not in trouble, but I think they could end up getting a lesser deal or else having to move networks.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of a more business sense of it. But I do think this is a big pay-per-view for them. To prove themselves.
You know what though? I think it is. Yeah, I think it's a big pay-per-view because I think because as well. You know what it is because they only do 4 a year. I think they have to deliver on all 4.
Yeah.
Because at least with WWE, you have 12 in a year. You're gonna miss eventually.
You're gonna have WWE. They might have 4 or 5 good pay-per-views a year, but they will have bad ones.
This is what I'm saying. And that's
the good thing about AEW.
You increase the chances. You're gonna get some. You're gonna get some duds, but it's a good and a bad thing with AEW. It's good that they have time to build up to each pay-per-view, but you also have the pressure of you've had 3 months to get this right.
Yeah.
If it's not good,
Yeah. And so far, bar the Mox, the barbed wire death match, I think they've delivered on everything on pay-per-view.
More or less that I can. I can't think of a moment where I've gone, this is terrible. This makes me want to turn it off. But there's
certain kind of midder card matches in the more recent pay-per-views. I've never said oh, this is terrible and turn this off.
Yeah.
But there's been
a couple. I remember Cargill and Tay Conti at the last pay-per-view. I was like, this is kind of.
I thought it was okay.
It was okay, but I was like,
I thought Paul White and QT Marshall.
Well, that was stupid.
Or there was matches like Jericho wrestling MJF for the 12th time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or Orange Cassidy for the fucking 12th time.
Yeah, where it was just okay. It's done now. Let's move on.
We've gotten to the point.
But no, I think we've gotten to our we've gotten to the point now where if any pay-per-view is going to be a bad pay-per-view for AEW, it might be this one. But my thing is, will they get an extra boost because they have the New Japan show coming up? Will there be a few things?
This is my thing, right? I'm Forbidden Door is 4 weeks away, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the more important show because I think you're right. AEW has dipped in quality over the last couple of months. Forbidden Door offers a reset. It offers a bit of a reboot, right? Forget about storylines. Forget about your storylines with your guys who are on the roster. Focus on building the AEW versus New Japan matches that you want to build for that card in whatever capacity you want to do that in, but focus on that. Don't do what WWE do around Survivor Series time and you have
cut off all feuds.
Just forget about feuds. You can keep feuds going, but make that your focus, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do that with guys being in Japan and being in America, but I think it offers a chance of a reboot of you know what? Okay, we've had a bad quarter, but we can come back. Let's do this show right. Let's give people what they've wanted since day one, really.
Yeah.
And let's deliver that correctly, and we'll move on from there. So now, it might be a small bit more different now that Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi probably won't be on the card.
Yeah.
But other than that, it still has the potential to be an excellent show. So let's focus on that. But as you said, Double or Nothing is also a very important show because that's new. And you can't, again, like we said, you can't afford to have, as infrequent as their pay-per-views are, you need to kind of be delivering at a high standard for all of them. Yeah. So we might as well get into it, because there's a good few matches, as I said. We'll start things off on the pre-show. And it is a tag team match. It is the team of Hookhausen, Hook and Danhausen, taking on the team of Tony Nese and Smart Mark Sterling, making his in-ring debut for AEW.
You know what? At the start, I thought I didn't get Hookhausen or Danhausen.
I didn't get the feud. I didn't like the feud. I didn't like.
But I've come around to them teaming. I think it's good.
Yeah, it's. I think it's been. I like that it's Tony Nese and Mark Sterling are afraid of Hook because they know Hook is a fucking killer.
Yeah.
And then Danhausen's using that as they're scared of me because I'm Danhausen.
Yeah.
But. I think AEW have something special in Hook.
I do too.
I think they have something special in Hook. And I know they want to build him very slowly. You don't want to rush him. You know, he's also very inexperienced in terms of wrestling, so, you know, you want to keep him ticking over. But I'm also like, I don't want this to be a thing for a while. You know, fair enough, like, do it now and that's fine, but, like, don't let him be, like, in the tag division with Danhausen. Do you know what I mean?
I think this will be it.
I hope so.
I think what we'll get is Hook or Hookhausen winning, and then after it, Hook chokes out Danhausen, and that's it. We're done.
That'd be cool, yeah. I'd be up for that.
I agree with what you're saying about Hook and AEW having something special in him. He's very much Goldberg to me.
Yeah.
Like, he's very much, not in the same sense, but, you know,
same vibe.
Same vibe. Hook is like, I think Hook is more kind of relaxed or whatever, but, you know, the way they've been brought up, very inexperienced, but, you know, people are getting on board with him, and you know, so it'd be an interesting one. I'd be interested to see what you do next afterwards, because you have to start moving Hook
up the card
eventually.
Yeah, like, I think, like, by this time next year, like, Double or Nothing 2023, like, he should be
co-main or main,
yeah, or, like, at least, like, TNT champion or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, he should be. Fair enough, you've done the squash matches, you did a little mini feud with QT Marshall where he went through the entire factory and beat every single person, and now you're doing the little comedy thing with Danhausen to show that he has a bit of range, I guess.
Yeah.
But let this be it. You know what I mean?
I think eventually we'll end up with Guevara. So Guevara is, I can't even keep up. Is Guevara TNT champion or is
no?
Scorpio?
Sky is the champion, but Frankie Kazarian and Guevara stole the title and destroyed it. Which makes you think that the TNT title is getting another redesign, and I'm like,
for the third time.
No, fifth. I think. I genuinely think it's the fifth iteration.
In 3 years or whatever.
Yeah, because there was, like, the unfinished title, and then there was the red strap, and then there was the black strap, then there was the white strap, then there was the double title, and now we're back to the black strap again. And there was 2 different black straps, because this one has, like, a sparkly TNT, and the other one had, like, just a solid TNT.
Anyway, I think Guevara will eventually get it back.
To break the record.
Yes, and I think he'll start to lean more into heel, and then we'll get Hook choke the shit out of him. That's it.
Hopefully, that'd be class. But yeah, I mean, like, I think the main thing here is that Hook and Danhausen part ways for now. I think it could be a fun callback, like, in a couple of years, where, like,
and look, you know, it was a good way to keep them tied over going into and it was, you know, I genuinely don't think that the intention was to put them together. I think this just kind of naturally happened and progressed. But I think it's cool. But I think Hookhausen get the win, and then Hook chokes out Danhausen afterwards.
Yeah, I agree. I think Hookhausen get the win. Hopefully he chokes him out afterwards, but if he doesn't, so be it. Next up, it is the AEW TBS Championship match. It is AEW TBS champion Jade Cargill defending her title against Anna Jay. Who do you have in mind?
Cargill. I don't think it's time to beat Cargill. I don't think there's anyone in AEW who has the capability of beating Cargill at the minute.
Like, you talk about Goldberg. I mean, like, she's. I know Tony Khan's already made that comparison prematurely, but, like, she is the one that they're building up with this undefeated streak. She's like 33-0 or something now. So, like,
yeah, I think they prematurely did that. I think they should have held off to do with Hook.
Yeah,
I know they can't do it with both of them.
Yeah,
because I don't look. You know, I think Goldberg's streak was cool because, like, it was like he just runs in, spare someone to death, and then it's done.
Yeah,
you know. And Hook's kind of like that when he comes in, chokes someone out, and done.
Flips him a few times and chokes him. Yeah.
Jade Cargill comes in,
has a match,
like, lock up, fucking drop down, leapfrog. You know, like, it's, you know, you can't really build streaks out of that unless your name is if your name starts with Mark and ends with Calloway. But yeah. So
I don't.
Again, I don't think there's anyone in AEW at the minute to beat Jade.
I don't think it's that. I think they'd be making a far bigger deal out of her opponent.
Well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think like they'd be mentioning the undefeated streak a lot more. Like they've taken the focus away from the undefeated streak, and now they've put they're like, oh, she's in a faction now with Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet. Now they're the baddies, and they're like that's the new thing. They're kind of taking focus away from it. I think when they start talking about the undefeated streak again, I think that's whoever they're talking about, or whoever she's facing. I think that's going to be the person.
Yeah, but I just don't think there's anyone kind of on the level of Jade Cargill to beat her at the minute.
Unless you just do Britt Baker or something for some reason, or.
But I think beating an undefeated streak, I think that should elevate someone.
Yeah.
As opposed to giving it to an established star. Like that was always the argument about Nash beating Goldberg streak. What was the point?
Yeah.
He was an established star. You built nobody.
Yeah.
And same argument with Brock. You know, Brock was an established star beating Taker streak.
Not just an established star, a part-time established star.
Yeah, like, you know, you want to make stars with these streaks.
Yeah.
So, I reckon we haven't seen I reckon the person to beat Jade Cargill isn't in AEW yet.
Yeah, could be.
Could be Sasha Banks. Could be Naomi.
Yeah.
You never know, but I just think the depth and strength of their women's division isn't good enough yet to handle an undefeated streak anyway, because we don't have someone to
beat her.
Them,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, fair. I mean, I agree. I mean, like I told you, I think Cargill's winning this as well. Just because that, like the same point really. Like, there's no one there to kind of beat an undefeated streak that you can make this big deal out of it. Like, you want someone who's kind of raw enough or new enough to the company at least that you can be like, they beat. You know, it was an elevation, like you said. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, look.
I think AEW women's division as a whole is a victim of its lack of depth, because like someone like Ruby Soho came in with a lot of buzz, a lot of fanfare, and there was nobody but her really to face Britt Baker, and they didn't want to take the title off Britt Baker, so they had Ruby Soho lose right out the bat, rather than building her. And now she's just kind of lost because you know,
now she's just there.
She can't win the title really.
Yeah.
And she can't, you know, wrestle or whoever. But, you know, that's a conversation, a larger conversation.
Yeah, for another day. So yeah, they fair enough. We both agree on that anyway. Next up is a match that I have a problem with, because I don't know why it's happening. Well, I do know why it's happening, but I actually had right. So it's a tag team match. It's the Hardys versus the Young Bucks. Matt and Jeff versus Matt and Nick.
Yeah.
And I was actually thinking during the week, it was before, I think this match got made official after last week's Rampage, I think. But I think during the week, I was like, the Young Bucks don't have a match at this card. And I was like, they don't really have a feud either. And I was like, this might be the first AEW pay-per-view without the Young Bucks on it. Interesting. I mean, it was bound to happen eventually, but like, we're slowly getting to the point where there's going to be no elite members on an AEW show. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, fair enough. And then this match got announced, and I went, like, I get it, in the sense that, you know, it's like past versus present kind of thing, but we've seen it before in a ladder match of that capacity, and I'm like,
but you've seen it before. You know what I mean? You've seen it on a smaller scale. Like,
I also don't that they're billing it as elite versus delete, and I'm like, they're not even doing that gimmick.
Yeah, well, no, yeah, I get that, but I would disagree to the sense that they've done it before, because it was done at Ring of Honor.
Yeah, fair.
You know, it was a pay-per-view that 1,000 people bought or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even though it was a fantastic match and fans like us have seen the match, you know, a wider AEW audience wouldn't have. So, I would like. I understand why they're doing it. I think they shoehorned it a little.
It is. I feel like it's a bit ridiculous, because
I think you could build this match, because it is a match that should be happening. You know, like the Bucks versus the Hardys has always.
No, I mean it like, yeah, I agree, but like last time I checked, like the Hardys were in a feud with bloody Andrade and his whole group.
But going back to your point, I genuinely think this was a thing of, the Bucks don't have a match on it.
Yeah, do you know?
Let's get them, and like it will be a good match. We can't argue the fact that these four men, we can't say it's not going to be a good match. You know what I mean? Like it's the Hardys and the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
they'll always have a good to great match.
Yeah.
So, I get why it'd be on a pay-per-view, but I would have liked a better build to, you cosplay as us.
Yeah.
And you should take the night off, Jeff, because you jumped off something high last week. Yeah. Stuff like that.
I would like some reasoning.
Yeah. But
who'd you have winning?
Probably the Bucks.
It's hard to call. I actually think
it is a hard one to call.
Because the Bucks have nothing really going on.
And if they win, do they get another tag?
I don't know. Shot? And Jeff just came back, just kind of debuted, but he just got his first loss as well. Yeah. So I don't know. Can he? I don't know. I'm gonna go the Young Bucks just because. Oh, no, do I?
I think it's easier. I think I can make more arguments for the Bucks winning.
Yeah, but I think eventually the Hardys are gonna get a shot at the titles.
They could do no. They could easily beat the Bucks here.
I think they're gonna go with the Hardys because I think they're gonna go for the.
Who are the tag team champions?
Jungle Jurassic.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. I think as for now, but I think I'm gonna go with the Hardys. Fuck it, yeah. I think the Hardys and just you can breathe a bit of freshness into the division.
What they could have done, and I know it would have been. It might have been overdone, but instead of shoehorning this match in, they could have played out the Bucks and FDR2 for this, rather than doing it on a Dynamite.
Yeah.
Because that would have had more of a story and
absolutely.
more of a. I'd be more excited for a Bucks and FDR2 than a Bucks and Hardys 2. Because I still think that match. It both times didn't get the justification. First time, obviously, the pandemic, and the second time, it was like a week build.
That was a week,
yeah. Like it was like next week, Bucks versus
FTR. For all the gold.
for that match, that was a dream match for a long time.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest dream matches in wrestling for 5 or 6 years. That match should have a strong build going into a pay-per-view. I've always said, before the match initially happened, I was like, that's going to be the first tag team match to headline a pay-per-view for AEW.
Yeah.
Because I think it should have. At the start of AEW, one of the promises was, we're going to treat tag team wrestling like we would,
It still might.
And but I think that should have been... I think that feud, when we look back at it, if we don't get that, I think... Though that feud was still a missed opportunity, even though the two matches were great. But
it could have been more.
It could have been more. Yeah.
It could have been historic. It could have been one of the greatest matches of all time.
Greatest feuds of all time.
Yeah. Look, I mean,
it's 1-1. So I'm assuming
there will be a third. There will be. And this is the thing with AEW. They're probably thinking that this is their long-term booking shtick. That they're probably next year now at Double or Nothing next year.
Maybe.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So fair enough. Moving on from that, and we talk about feuds that have gone on too long. This is one of them. And look, I love everyone in this match. But it needs to be put to bed. And it's the 6-man tag team match between the House of Black, Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews taking on Death Triangle, Pac, Rey Fenix, and Penta Oscuro. This feels like it's been going on forever. And
okay, hold on now. So, Aleister Black teamed with Andrade.
Briefly in that feud with Cody,
At All Out. But, this has been happening since then, has it? Or did they just leave each other and then come back?
Who, Andrade and Malachi Black?
Yeah. Have they been kind of connected since then?
No,
okay. It's just kind of popped up again.
So, so it kind of... When House of Black got formed... Death Triangle was kind of the first in first thing there, and it kind of did. These two trios of like unbelievable wrestlers.
Yeah.
Wrestling and like first it was Brody King and Buddy Matthews obviously came later, but like obviously it was sidetracked by Ray Phoenix injuring himself, and they had to shoehorn Eric Redbeard in there for some reason, and we got that, and now we're finally getting I'm hoping is the bloody blow off for this, and the big 6-man. It's so annoying because I love Malachi Black. He's one of my favourite wrestlers in the world today, and has been since WWE days. And I love the House of Black. I think it's so cool. I actually think it's the coolest thing. I just think it has the potential to be one of the best things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it just needs to get out from this, and it's the problem with a lot of AEW guys is that like they could be so much more. They could be genuinely one of the best, but you're like.
Like, I would argue that Aleister Black, or Malachi Black, since he left WWE, is basically in the same position in AEW, if not less.
No, I would disagree. I would say yeah, maybe the same, but I would say slightly more on the fact that he's wrestling regularly at least.
Yes, well, yeah, wrestling regularly at least.
And at least he has, I don't want to say a story, but he has a thing around him in the House of Black. He has... Well,
the House of Black, and it's something, but that's, that's just... Like, having a faction in AEW is like being a single star in WWE, you know what I mean? Like, everybody has a faction.
Yeah.
It's not like when WWE has a faction, like, Edge has a faction, because nobody else has a faction. Everybody has a faction in AEW, so, like, I think that negates that. Like, it's not special. He has a faction.
Well, yeah, it'd be special if they were running shit, but like...
Or had trios titles to explain
this
why.
This is probably what it needs. Do you know what I mean? If they had brought in trios titles and this was the final of a tournament or something...
I don't understand Tony Khan's thing of, we're going to do trios titles when Kenny Omega's back. Why? You have so many trios now.
It's because he wants Kenny to win them, probably.
Yeah, but then that's just giving away who you want to win.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but this is the problem with Tony Cokehead Khan.
Allegedly. You don't want to get sued here.
No, but again, yeah, but that's the problem. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, yes, we get long-term booking, we get all that shit, but do shit now. Stop waiting so fucking long to do it. Yeah. You were happy to give away FTR and the Young Bucks during the fucking pandemic and on free TV. Yeah, you have up-dean trios on your roster, and you're like, no, we need that one guy who's primarily a singles wrestler.
Singles wrestler, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You have two, like I said, House of Black and Death Triangle, two unbelievable trios that have made names for themselves now in AEW as trios, and they're like, no, this is...
And again, like, someone... It's amazing, like, it's amazing the talent that they have on their roster that are even, shuffled into trios. Like Pac.
No, I know, it's crazy.
They have, like, that's Pac.
But look at all three of those guys. Pac, Penta and Ray.
And Phoenix, yeah, like.
All incredible guys. All could be future world champions in that
company.
But,
like, I think back to when Pac first signed with AEW. And I know the pandemic did not help because he was gone away for
stuck in England, yeah.
But, like, he was one of the major stars that they signed initially. Yeah. Like, he was the Dragon Gate champion.
Yeah, him and Hangman were, like, going to be the first world title feud.
And, like, I think that, like, I think their roster is way too big. They have too many people who could be stars.
And you know...
I don't know if I've made this analogy before, and stop me if I have, but it's the Mr. Burns illness.
Yeah.
Where they all try to fit through the door, where none of them can actually get into the next level. Where, like there's so many of them there that no one's actually becoming a star.
Yeah. So what you're saying is I have the best roster in this thing.
Yeah, the best roster in the world.
No, what I'm saying is you're totally underutilizing all your stars. The best roster. You know what, right? I don't want to be that guy and whisper it now, but a brand split mightn't be the worst idea in the world here.
Yeah.
And especially when alright, and I've noticed a trend, right? You look at who's announced for Dynamite every week and who's announced for Rampage every week, you basically have a brand split anyway. It's always more or less the same people. Like, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley are guarantees for Rampage. They're every single week on Rampage.
Yeah.
Adam Cole as well, always on Rampage. Dynamite, you have Hangman, you have Punk, you have MJF. Like, there are guys who seem to be exclusive to one show or the other.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe this should be considered. I know.
I think it will become a thing once Ring of Honor establishes television.
It's hilarious because we talk about AEW becoming WWE. Like, it's gonna be Dynamite's Raw, Rampage is SmackDown, ROH is NXT. Yeah. It's gonna be this thing where that's what it's gonna be like. Yeah.
Now, like, it would mean introducing new titles. It would mean introducing.
But does it though? This is where you kind of get the leg up in WWE, right? WWE, we're like, yeah, we do a brand split, but we need to have a world title, a singles or a mid-card title, a women's title. We need to have everything the same on both brands except different colours. So maybe like
I still think you need titles.
But maybe do something.
Nobody will watch. Nobody watches Rampage now because there's
no. But like, what you do is you do the AEW title and the TNT title or the TBS title on Dynamite, say.
Yeah.
And then do the TNT title and the women's title on Rampage.
Nobody's gonna watch Rampage. Nobody's gonna watch Rampage for the TNT.
Put the tag title
on. I
don't
care what Cody Rhodes said. The titles are not equal.
No, they're not equal. Yeah. I know that. But
so no one's gonna give a fuck. I wouldn't. Would you watch Rampage? If the TNT title is the title on Rampage?
It pretty much is anyway.
Yeah, but like if they officially make it that way.
No, but I'm not saying make it the world title, but I'm just saying like make it to like, because that's the thing that annoys me as well is the fact that it's called the TNT title and it's, I know that they're sister fucking networks or whatever, but like have it defended only on TNT. Make it the reason that like it's called the TNT title. Why is the TBS title on TNT? Just
but yeah, no, that makes sense. But I just think.
Look, I'm just saying.
My thing is, right, I don't want fucking Bryan Danielson exclusively to Rampage, and all he can fight for is the TNT fucking title.
I know it's an issue, but like it's all right. Maybe have the world champion float or something. I don't know, but like. But like, I'm just saying, it is that thing with Mr. Burns that like you have so much that like, or that thing I'm gonna send it to you.
Can I give a controversial wrestling opinion?
You can, yeah.
A floating champion does not work.
It's hard.
Give me an example of when a floating champion.
I don't know.
Ever worked.
I don't know.
It doesn't.
I can't remember the last time there was one, to be honest.
Floating champion, because you know where they get it from. The NWA.
Yeah.
Didn't work.
Yeah. No, it's hard. It's hard
in local markets.
Yeah.
When there was no television in the 60s. You know what I mean? It's not going to work now.
It's hard when you have like someone just like floating around.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Like, who's going to watch Rampage for 2 months without a champion and be like, I can't wait for him to come back. You know what I mean? Like,
he's coming. I know he's going to come.
It worked in the 60s and there was nothing else to fucking do.
It's hard because the thing is, what happens then is, if you have a floating champion, you need a floating number one contender to chase him around everywhere.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It just gets fucking. Yeah.
It just gets messy. I know, like a brand split it's hard, but it's. I don't know. It's that thing, Joe. Like it's Tony Khan's this kid who keeps taking an apple, taking a bite, throwing the apple away, and getting a new apple. You know what I mean? It needs to. They need to do something. They need to do something to fix this.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that is though, and maybe it's.
There's too many people.
Whisper it. Maybe it's some releases. You know what I mean? It's maybe.
Well, they've started.
They've started. They've cut some. They've trimmed some of the fat, but like they need to.
Who do you release?
Who can you afford to release? Just like.
You know what I mean?
I mean, letting MJF go may not be the worst thing in the world to do.
You can't. They can't release MJF.
Not release him. But when his contract is up, don't renew it.
But he's an established star.
Who would you release? Because think of, like, who do you want to let go? Who can you alright, one male guy, one female guy.
I don't like doing this because, you know, I don't want anyone...
Who do you not like? Who do you think deserves to be on the fly?
Okay. I just think they signed too many people for people's sake to get in. I think you need to trim some of those guys out.
Yeah.
Like, someone like Tony Nese.
Yeah, Tony Nese doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to be there.
Like, people always mock TNA for the whole thing of someone was released and then 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
ooh, what is his name slightly altered from WWE doing in the Impact Zone? Like, you know, like, you know, people like Tyson Tomko and all these people there's no need for him to do it. AEW is guilty of some of that. You know, ooh, this guy was on
WWE a couple of weeks ago.
He's very bland babyface. Woo. Here we go. And AEW is an awful victim of not using the talent that they have. No, yeah. Here's what I do, right? I wouldn't release anyone. I'd use the fucking talent that you have. You don't need fucking a mystery Joker opponent in the Owen Hart Cup.
Match.
In the Owen Hart Cup, like Johnny Elite or John Morrison or whatever. When you have fucking Alistair, I was gonna say Alistair Overeem. Alistair Black and Malachi Black. You have fucking Keith Lee. You have all these people ready to go, and you go, well, they're not going to get a pop because they've already been on TV. Yeah. Let me get John Morrison and put Johnny up on the screen and let everyone think it's Johnny Gargano and then slightly disappoint people. Like, you know, like, stop chasing this one-time pop because no one gets over
cheap
from
pops,
that.
like.
You know what I mean? You have Pac. Why couldn't he be in the Owen Hart tournament? Andrade. Fucking Black. Penta, Swerve, Christian. Like, look at all these people that you have on your roster. Yeah. Fucking Christian. When he came in, you swore John Cena was in the building. My God, he's going to change the world. Like, Jesus Christ! And now he's a glorified manager. You know, he won the Impact title. Okay, fair enough. Congratulations. Had a good match in the main event.
2 weeks later.
Yeah, good match in the main event. Kenny Omega at All Out. Was that All Out? Was?
Yes.
Yeah. Good match. You know, fair play. But then it was just, you know, done. You know, here's fucking Mr. Paul White in for no reason. He's going to be a commentator on some fucking YouTube show.
Mark Henry doesn't.
Here's Mark Henry.
Why is Mark Henry implied? What does
he do? Here comes Mark Henry to be the 5th commentator on a 5 commentator.
You don't have enough desk.
Like, what I mean? Like it just doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Like, again, this whole thing about mystery opponents is overdone.
It's gotten ridiculous. When they're recycling people, like during the women's one when they brought back Maki Ito, like,
well, you don't need. You could have just announced Britt Baker and Maki Ito, like.
It would have been fine.
Because, you know, if you don't have a big enough surprise, people are going to lose their on themselves.
Yeah, it's going to be Sasha Banks.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So, like, it's. But this whole thing about surprise entrances, here's Minoru Suzuki for no reason. Like, no, we fuck having Andrade in a feud who we employ. You know, let's get the 50-year-old man from Japan in,
because he's in the States.
So we can get Meltzer to wank over it when he watches. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's too catering to the pop rather than building stars.
It's a bit ridiculous, like.
Yeah. So
anyway,
sorry, my little rant.
Who do you think is going to win this trios match?
Yeah, you know what? I actually have no idea.
I think it's going to be Death Triangle.
Yeah,
I think
makes sense.
I think they're going to get their win eventually. Now when it'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
After Pat was blinded and Phoenix was crippled, I think they deserve a win.
They're fucking having Rey Mysterio of 2020. That's the year they've
yeah, thrown off a building. Next up is a match that hasn't been announced officially yet, but I'm adding it in because it will be announced officially. It is MJF versus Wardlow, with the stipulation that if Wardlow wins, he's released from his contract with not with AEW, with MJF, and he can sign with AEW, I guess. And if MJF wins, then Wardlow is never going to be released from his contract with him, and he will never be allowed work with AEW.
Yeah,
that's the stipulation, I believe. Now, like I said, this match hasn't been officially announced yet, because on Dynamite tomorrow night, Wardlow will face Shawn Spears in a steel cage match with MJF as special guest referee, and if he wins that...
So this match is confirmed.
Yeah, so if he wins that, then this match happens.
Okay. I mentioned this to you earlier. Don't like how the AEW has only been in existence for 3 years and they're already doing callbacks to feuds.
To the Cody feud,
like, you don't need it that cookie cutter to the Cody feud.
Yeah.
Like, Wardlow's going to get up top and do a fucking backflip now.
He might actually.
Jesus, he killed Spears. Poor Spears.
No, because he's done moonsaults before, so I say he might actually.
Maybe.
But I don't think he's done him that high.
Spears.
Flatten him.
Just fucking.
It's magic
it's
like the mask. Somebody's like, look, ma, I'm roadkill.
I'd have to get a fucking spatula and peel the Shawn Spears off the fucking mat.
There's Shawn Spears stain on it.
I'm going MJF here.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna go MJF.
Why?
I think MJF. I don't think this feud's over.
But what do you think is gonna? How do you get around?
I think he's gonna win in like a very nefarious
Take him
way.
to court,
and
is
then
it?
Fucking no. Then on Wednesday we'll have Cokehead Khan out being like
allegedly
2 days from tonight, 2 days from tonight.
allegedly.
And then we'll get Wardlow reinstated, and
but like he's not. This is the whole problem.
or else
he's not stated, let alone reinstated.
Or else what could happen is you could do a thing, and this could go 2 ways. It could be very entertaining, or it could be very, very stupid, right? But I'm going to lean into the entertaining side of things if it's done correctly. I think you have MJF like win badly, and then
If you mean bad, as in like cheats,
yeah, and then
or as in like he beats the shit out of Wardlow.
then all of a sudden, like kind of the next week or so, like you get like this masked wrestler debuting who's clearly Wardlow.
It's
and,
Lord Woe.
Yeah. You do. You do kind of a Hulk Hogan, Mr. America thing with MJF.
Does a lie detector test.
And like, or even like what was happening with Ezekiel and Elias at the minute, like, you do something like that. And I think MJF is the type of guy that could
make it work.
Yeah.
It'd be like his audition for WWE, but.
Oh yeah, well you know.
I'm going Wardlow. I think I want this to be done as well.
But my thing is, right, you give... Having MJF win, you still give both men something to do afterwards. If Wardlow wins...
What do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
What happens next?
I know that
what happens next for both? Because MJF is coming off a loss. And...
It's true. I don't know.
I just think there's more to give to this feud, I think.
Probably, and like, I understand as well, you talked about it as well, and I did, we did talk about this, like, being premature. That you could have waited a while for this, like.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
You could have waited, you could have literally done the Batista story. And...
You could have had MJF.
You could have had MJF as champion, and had Wardlow, hear him talking about him behind his back, and that he's only using him, and blah, 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 and he'll never be this, that, and the other thing.
I think that if they had waited until All In, or waited even until now,
as in to do the turn,
or to even build to the turn, I think you would have gotten a bigger pop than even bigger pop than what you did.
Yeah,
I don't think the Punk feud was the time to turn him.
Probably not. I mean, like,
I think he was still being very much a heel in the lead up to the Punk feud. I know he had kind of.
I mean, there was a thing. I think the point was when he had the match with Punk. Wardlow had the match with Punk, and like MJF kept was powerbomb him again, and you could see Wardlow was like, "Come on, like just let me put this to bed." I just want to, because like at the time Wardlow was undefeated, and he was like, "I just want to win. Can I just win?
Yeah.
Like I haven't beat. Can I just beat CM Punk?" And like I think that was the thing. And overall, I really like Wardlow. I'm really into him. I think he has a lot of potential to be very, very good.
I definitely do think he has the potential to be WWE champion at some point. I think
it's true. Vince, I mean, it is true, but like
Vince is gonna get his meaty claws in him.
Yeah.
Turn on the light there. What you call it?
I think I saw one thing, right? That like, you know how like MJF is calling him pig and like war pig and stuff like this.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Did you see where that came from?
No.
So like, he just said like, "Oh, you're just a pig. Like you're just a a mud feeding pig that like feed like you need me for money and all this kind of stuff. You're just a money hungry pig." That's all he could. That was just the insult he got. Like he's a pig, and but I saw people saying that like because he keeps calling him war pig, that Tony Khan has bought the rights to War Pigs, the song by Black Sabbath. And that's going to be his theme song coming out to Double or Nothing. Which would be cool, because that's a fucking class song. Yeah. But, like, I'm also, like, it also doesn't really suit Wardlow. So I'm like, but,
interesting.
Yeah, but anyway, look, that match, it will happen. Don't make no bones about it.
How much would a fucking
Black Sabbath? It's also Ozzy Osbourne, so I'm like, I don't know if that fella is financially stable. Yeah. His medical bills keeping him alive is probably running into the millions. Yeah, so yeah, we'll move on from that. And next is another match that will probably be good, but I don't like the whole concept of it. And it is the Anarchy in the Arena match between the Jericho Appreciation Society, Chris Jericho, Matt Menard, Angelo Parker, Daniel Garcia, and Jake Hager, taking on the collaboration of Eddie King,
or as I like to call them, the Inner Circle at home. We have the Inner Circle at home.
Taking on the collaboration of Eddie Kingston, Santana and Ortiz, and the Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley, in the Anarchy in the Arena match. You didn't actually have to call it that,
Yeah, it's like someone saying, like, someone expressing that you're having fun. We are having fun right now. We are having anarchy right now. You don't need to say it. You know? You have to, subtlety is key here. You know?
You could have just said no DQ. We would have been fine with it. Like
false count anyway.
Street fight or something. It would have been fine.
But what they wanted, like they wanted to do something like Stadium Stampede.
But that was the whole thing. I mean, I'm assuming you saw that segment where he was like, "Oh, we're challenging to a stead." He was like, "No, we're not doing a stupid fucking pre-taped match."
Yeah.
So yeah, Jericho Appreciation Society versus Kingston, Santana Ortiz, and the BCC. Who'd you have in mind?
Kingston.
The other ones.
The ones without a name.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think again, it's very strange. I think like the BCC are very shoehorned into this.
I think it was because they were like, "Oh shit, we need two other guys to make this even."
Yeah, and I know you can draw the connection to Moxley and Kingston and and stuff like that, but
and Kingston and Danielson because they had that match. And they brought it up like that's the whole thing. It was like, oh, can they coexist? It's like the storyline again.
Yeah.
But because that's the thing, right? I was like, when the BCC first came out to help him, I was like, wait, no, now it's outnumbered. Now it's 6-5 because Yuda's there. But then I realized Yuda's gone to Japan to do Best of Super Juniors.
Yeah.
So where he wrestled his first Japanese main event yesterday, 2 days ago against El Desperado. Lost though, but it was good. Yeah, but Anarchy in the Arena. I feel this match is gonna like exhaust people because there's gonna be shit happening everywhere. And I feel people are gonna be like, where do we look? Where's the best place to look?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I don't know. Is it? I think it actually might end up being filmed backstage.
Don't know.
Type thing.
Maybe. Probably. Maybe partially.
Yeah.
Maybe partially.
But yeah, like the last Stadium Stampede.
Yeah.
Where they end up in the ring, afterwards. But yeah, it'll be interesting. But I just the Jericho Appreciation Society. I don't. You know.
Why is he a wizard? Why is he calling himself a wizard now?
Well, I think Jericho's at a stage now where he's just gonna he can throw things out there and see what sticks.
Yeah.
You know.
I know, but stop throwing things.
But like, I also, you know, Jericho's been doing this long enough and has a good enough track record that I'm more receptive to him doing it because I also trust that Jericho knows when things aren't working.
Yeah.
And knows.
Hence why the influencer is no longer a thing.
Yes, you know what I mean. So.
Or the wrestler? Did he make himself the wrestler at one point? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Like stuff like Floyd the Bat and stuff. Like
yeah.
They're less of a thing now, and you know, the Pain Maker.
Yeah.
You know, even though I listened to like a podcast fucking 2 months ago.
Oh, you want to do a comic book?
He said he fully believes the Pain Maker could be a Marvel character someday.
Played by him, of course.
The end credit scene. It's fucking Chris Jericho with Floyd and them.
Yeah, no, not happening, Chris. Sorry, bud. Yeah, fucking. Yeah, it is. I think it is that thing where it's like Jericho's like, right, how many catchphrases can I throw out there? How many T-shirts can I make?
Very sad, yeah.
And then we'll see how long I can get out of each one of them. Now it's the wizard. Now he's a wizard, which is funny because it's Jericho saying, "I'm a wizard."
Yeah. Like, can I just say though, William Regal has been like the highlight of this for me.
Yeah, he's been brilliant since
since he's come in.
Yeah.
He has been fantastic. Because the thing about Regal, right, and it's always been Regal's strength, is that he can do both. He can be an entertainer and he can be a fucking like an
psychopath,
intense wrestler. Like that video that they did was one of the best things AEW has ever produced, I think. Like,
sick!
video.
Yeah, so good. I watched it 3 times.
And then the thing of like, you know, you might have pissed on my tea, but I used to stick your toothbrush up my ass.
Yeah.
Why?
What do you mean? Every single show you stuck your toothbrush. How many shows did you work?
Yeah, how many toothbrushes?
I'm sure he would have noticed by at some point.
But I did like that they called that though. The pissing in the teeth.
Yeah, that was cool.
It was a cool, little.
I was Joe though. Like I was getting a small bit uncomfortable with the whole promo because I was like, Jericho's really, you know, hitting hard with these things.
You know what? But like, I think they're all. Like Regal just did Jericho's podcast.
I know.
They're all very good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not under any false pretenses that they weren't like pre-approved jokes and stuff like this. Like,
I love the line where it was like he'll have you doing enough disco biscuits that you'll end up in the program like Moxley.
Yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, to be fair, it was actually funny that like Joe when he went through like Kingston and Santana and Ortiz and Regal and then he got to Danielson, he was like, "You're just a nerd, aren't you?" I love how he had nothing to mock Danielson with, so he was just like, "You're just a nerd."
Yeah, like no, it's and like it is amazing, you know, the history that all these have had in different type of ways. Like you have Moxley and Kingston, you have Jericho and Mox.
Yeah.
You have Jericho and Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. You know, Daniel Bryan was Jericho was Daniel Bryan's first match on NXT.
Yeah.
You know, you have Jericho Regal, obviously opened WrestleMania 17, the greatest WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like so many connections and stuff.
Kingston and LAX.
But I also Kingston LAX, yeah, of course. Like, but I also think this feud is genuinely what that is. It's all them versus Jericho and friends.
What is it? I was going to say, you just named like all the history there, and it's Jericho with every single other person in the ring, instead of Jericho and the other numpties that are with him.
I know Hager has had some history with Mox and Bryan, and you know, but not as significant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
he has history with Regal that he worked
and obviously
there.
Santana and Ortiz. But,
yeah, part of the inner circle, of course. But like
his history with Regal as in
they worked in the same company for a period of time.
You know that old picture of Michael Scott with the mullet and shit? You know? That's Regal and Hager.
But yeah, John, I am interested though. At some point in this match, I want to see Garcia and Danielson lock up at some point. Because that's a match that
because,
actually...
you know, legit, apparently he was supposed to be
Wheeler
the Wheeler Yuta, and Jericho's like, no, he's going into my new factory.
Yeah, I think he still might be at some point. He might be like the first defector.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? I think
he suits the Blackpool Combat.
He does! No, this thing.
He's not like... You look at him, and he's not... Like, Jericho's going around going, I'm the wizard! He's not Chris
He's going around with his Kangol hat on backwards.
I do get the reason you put him with Jericho.
I'm a wizard.
I do also get the reason why you put him with Jericho, to take him out of his comfort zone and be able to learn more of the entertainment aspect, rather than playing to his strengths in the Blackpool Combat Club. But you also, you know, Paul Heyman did it for years. You lean into people's strengths. Yeah, you know.
I think what'll be cool as well is that he's currently now the PWG World Champion. So you could have, like, say, Danielson and Moxley are like the pros in the UFC, and you've got Yuta and Garcia who are winning like national titles and winning. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like they're like collecting the titles and putting them on the wall in the gym.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I want to see like that visual of like cool, titles on the wall in the gym, and
But no, you'll probably see fucking Garcia hold his title in the hot tub, in Chris Jericho's hot tub.
Yeah.
But he's drinking bubbly or something.
What the hell is that thing?
yeah.
What is that green mess? So I agree with you anyway that Kingston and friends will be Jericho and friends. Moving on to a match that I'm actually really excited for. I think this potentially might be the match I'm looking forward to the most. I don't know why. There's no real nothing that special about it. It's just I have a feeling it's gonna be a really good match. It's the AEW World Tag Team Championship match between it's a triple threat match between the champions Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, defending their titles against Team Taz, Ricky Starks, and Powerhouse Hobbs, and the team of Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. I don't know why. I just think this will be really good. Who do you have in mind?
Keith Lee and Swerve.
Interesting, yeah.
I think they have the momentum. I think, you know, Jurassic Express have had a good reign, and the titles have propelled them. I think Keith Lee in particular is one of the guys, like we mentioned, who needs kind of a big thing now. Yeah,
he's a guy similar to Malachi Black, I feel, where he's like in the same position he was in, really, in WWE. Like.
And it's not even that, I think there's too many of these people, new kind of big guys who can be stars, put into these multi-man matches on pay-per-views, who don't win but don't get pinned. And they're just kind of...
They stagnate, like.
Yeah, and nobody wins out of that. And I don't want Keith Lee to be just another passerby in a match.
Yeah.
You know, so I want them to win. I think it's time for them. I think they've been consistently one of the best things about AEW in the last kind of 3 months.
Yeah, I think so too. I actually hadn't thought about a winner for this yet.
Like Keith Lee is Keith Lee, right? Keith Lee is one of the most unique athletes in wrestling, right? But Keith Lee goes without saying. I think Swerve, low key, is one of the best wrestlers in the world. I genuinely think Swerve.
Well, after seeing him live, like we did, like, you know, I think it's different when you see him live. You're like, this guy has something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. This guy is, you know, he is brilliant. Like he's got charisma. He can work. He can talk.
For God's sake, license the music. We need Shaka Khan.
I was just about to say. I mean, Black Sabbath's probably gonna be expensive. I don't know how much Shaka Khan's gonna be. But
we can crowdfund it.
Go fund me. But no, look. The more I think about it, I think Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus need to lose the titles. Their title reign has been good, but it's a bit dead now, I think.
And I also think they've been playing into Christian and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of turning, so I think Christian might cost them here.
Yeah, could be Christian versus Jungle Boy or something.
Jungle Boy,
yeah, it could be cool. Do you know what as well? I know we've joked in the past that like Team Taz is like where feuds go to die in AEW, and it's kind of like their de facto first feud. It was like the Dolph Ziggler and I was like, yeah, but you know what? Ricky Starks has been on form for the last couple of
Ricky
weeks.
Starks
he is fantastic. He has been.
But I think he's held back by Team Taz.
Yeah, and you know what? Powerhouse Hobbs is good too. I think. Like, do you know what? They're not even Team Taz anymore. They don't, like, Taz isn't with him anymore.
I know, what I mean? But I just think that...
And Hook's not about.
That Team Taz stink is still on him.
Yeah.
Because again, that's something they've kind of kept Hook away from Team Taz now.
Yeah, because like, you know what?
Yeah. But I think, like, Ricky Starks is... And I hate making the comparison because it's a massive comparison and, you know, and people make it a lot. But, like, Ricky Starks reminds me so much of The Rock. Younger Rock. Like.
He has a vibe to him, right?
He has that kind of vibe, that charisma.
Yeah.
You know, and like I think eventually, given the right kind of push and guidance, he could become.
He could be like he should be. Again, he's like one of these guys. I think next year, like he should be in world title feuds.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Like he should have been. I think if Hangman's reign was better planned out, I think he should have been one of Hangman's title challengers. You know.
Yeah.
I think they need to decide something about the FTW Championship. I think they need to either get rid of it or like make it an actual title or whatever. I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand what it actually is meant to represent. Other than we're Team Taz, we're not good enough to win the world title, but we have our own title, and like, because like they're doing match like. Ricky Starks versus Jungle Boy for the FTW Championship. You were like,
but what's the meaning?
Was Jungle Boy ever really going to win that? And was he going to carry around the FTW Championship for some reason? Like, think about why the FTW Championship was brought in by Taz in the first place, you know, way back when, you know, to be like, I have my own world title, I don't need your world title, you know what I mean? But yeah, look, I think Starks is fantastic. I think Hobbs has a lot of potential too, but I think Starks is he's a star now. I think that like, you know, you could genuinely put him into the main event now and he'd be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want Keith Lee and Swerve to win this. I think they're the right call. So hopefully. Moving on to another title match. It is the AEW Women's World Championship match. It is the AEW Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa defending her title against the Professor Serena Deeb. Who do you have in mind?
I'm going Thunder Rosa. But I think her title reign has been
bad.
Yes.
It's been bad.
Now, I will preface that to say it was very hard to follow up
on Britt Baker.
But what I am disappointed in is this is the reign you decided to end Britt Baker's reign for.
Yeah. You know, I don't mind Thunder Rosa being the person to do it, but yeah, come on, you could have done better.
I think the opening feud being Nyla Rose is, you talk about where feuds go to die. Nyla Rose is the Baron Corbin of AEW.
That's a very good actually comparison.
Yeah, like it's just, you know, what's the point?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I just thought that was very lazy. I think, and WWE do that with Baron Corbin, and that's why I made the comparison, is they're like, oh, she needs a feud, let's get Nyla.
Nyla's around, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
she needs a monster to overcome, kind of thing.
Like, you know,
yeah, I mean, Thunder Rosa is very, very, very good. She's really good. And like her matches with Britt Baker have saved the women's division, and you know what I mean? Like they've some of the best matches that the AEW have ever done. But almost similar to Hangman, but more severe, I would say, is like she was far better in the chase than she is as the champion. I think, but with...
I wouldn't say far more severe, because I don't think people were clamouring for her to win the title as they were Hangman.
I think it was the writing was fairly on the wall that she was going to beat Britt Baker. And
I think the writing was on the wall, but that didn't make it the right decision. You know what I mean? I don't think there would have been riots if Britt Baker had beaten her.
No, I don't think so either. But
I think more people were desperate for Hangman to win the title because it was a better story.
Yeah, true. But I think,
I'll put it this way, right? if they didn't do Hangman and Kenny at Full Gear, I think people would have been complaining. I think if they didn't do Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker and put someone else in there with Britt Baker, people wouldn't care.
Yeah.
It would be okay.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair enough. But, yeah, look, this match will probably be good because it's...
No, I did.
It's Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb. They're both very, very good wrestlers, but...
Arguably the two best to have in the ring.
I would say Serena Deeb is the best. Their best.
Well, you said no, so Serena Deeb is the argument. The argument was
Thunder Rosa. Yeah.
Like the argument would have been between Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
Yeah, they're like
I think Serena
two of the top three
is the best.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. She's one of the best technical wrestlers on the roster. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's up there with the likes of Danielson and fucking. You know what I mean?
I think she should be in the Blackpool.
That would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. Share her head again and just be a loser. No, the only thing though is to join the Blackpool Combat Club, you need to be beaten up by a member of the Blackpool Combat Club. And how do we do that? That's fucking regal, just elbowing her to death.
Yeah. Danielson just has her in the triangle. And then just flexing.
Yeah.
I think Thunder Rosa wins here. I think they're going to keep this title going and try and salvage it, but I think whoever she faces next should be the one to beat her, probably. You know what I mean? I think...
You know what? I could even make the argument for Serena Deeb winning.
You could, but I also...
And then joining the Blackpool Combat.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be against it. I wouldn't be like, oh, for fuck's sake. So yeah, moving on to two matches that we have to do a bit of speculation on because they're not fully... They are the Owen Hart Cup finals.
So we'd have to pick a winner of that, essentially.
So for the women's bracket, we have both semi-finals are happening tonight, or are happening on Wednesday, I believe, and they are Toni Storm versus Britt Baker and Ruby Soho versus Chris Statlander. So tell me who's going to the finals and tell me who's winning.
It's hard to call.
I think if Britt and Tony were on different sides.
I thought that's what it was going to be.
Yeah.
I thought the pay-per-view match was Britt and Tony. Like.
No, it's Britt and Tony on Dynamite.
Yeah, that's
and
very
then
strange. Swerve. You don't do Ruby Soho and Britt.
We've seen it already.
But I think...
Statlander's got momentum because she's turned heel, I think.
That'll tell you how much momentum she has.
She's wearing darker attire.
Heel, I think.
She's wearing darker attire.
Yeah, it's probably going to be Toni Storm and Chris Statlander.
I could see him doing Toni Storm and Ruby Soho to do friend versus friend. We're both punk rock. Look at us wrestle.
No, that sounds awful.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it, yeah, the good thing would have been Baker and Storm on either side of the bracket.
Yeah, because by the looks of it now, we're not going to have Britt Baker on a pay-per-view, which, it's one of the best.
Unless she just beats Storm. Unless she just beats her. And we get...
And then who's she wrestling? Ruby Soho?
Soho beats Baker then.
Maybe.
Gets the win back.
But,
the Owen Hart Cups have been...
For as big as they've hyped them.
Yeah. It's been... Do you know what it was, right?
I genuinely think they were going to get Brett involved.
Yeah, and also the fact that they had... You have Bret Hart. And I also think, the fact they did, eliminators, and that was,
What's Bret Hart doing in the Impact Zone?
No, Joe, I understand, that they wanted to expand the tournament, but, Joe, when they call them eliminators...
Just start the fucking
tournament. Just start the tournament. Just announce, a full bracket, and be like, this is... Because, people would have gone through the bracket, I'd fucking love a tournament, right? I love tournaments.
Yeah, I do.
In every regard, not just wrestling, in everything.
Yeah, but the fun of the tournament is going through the bracket and going
Imagine going through the bracket and seeing Dax versus Cash, right? But, just thrown in there. People would have been like, what? That's surely, a mistake. I understand, now, the build and stuff was fantastic, but you could have done that anyway.
Or even, have it that Dax wrestles someone, Cash wrestles someone, and they could potentially meet.
Yeah.
And then have that being oh, they could actually meet here.
Yeah.
And whatever, and then they do, and you know, it'd be cool. But like, yeah, it's the eliminate. Yeah, it's
like making eliminators made it sound like it was gonna be. When I heard eliminators, it was like like Champions League qualifiers.
Yeah,
like,
this is what came to my mind.
You have you already have teams in there, but you're just fighting for the last few spaces.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I thought they were going to announce this big, huge bracket, and then there was going to be like the last people who won matches to get into it.
Yeah.
Because like the first match because this is the thing, the first match on the women's side was like Red Velvet versus Willow Nightingale, and I was like, well, obviously Red Velvet's winning that.
Yeah.
So I was like, they're doing this to like just fill out the bracket and give people who ordinarily wouldn't have momentum a win to get in.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it wasn't that. It was just the first round, and but yeah, I don't know. So, right, final answer now. Who's in the final and who's winning?
I'm going Tony Storm and Chris Statlander, and I'm going Tony Storm to win.
I'll go the opposite. I'll go Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, and I'll go Ruby Soho to win.
Okay.
And now the men's side is slightly less hard because we have one finalist confirmed. But it's going to be Adam Cole, we know that for certain, versus either Kyle O'Reilly or Samoa Joe. I'll be happy with either.
Yeah. Kyle O'Reilly just signed a 5-year deal with AEW, so see that?
No.
5-year contract, yeah.
Well, committing himself. Can't wait for him in 5 years to be top of the promotion and then leave.
Be on the verge of being top of the promotion.
Which is Kyle O'Reilly's gimmick.
Yeah.
Get to the top, be in the main event, fighting for the world title, and then leave.
Yeah.
They can tell two stories.
Yeah. And that's what's good about this.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to go Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Kyle O'Reilly as well.
Because my worry is they get to the pay-per-view with Joe and Cole, and then
it'll be Jay Lethal will come out and cast him.
Yeah. Right. You get away with doing that on Dynamite, you don't get away with doing that on the
doing a pay-per-view, you'd be like,
yeah,
fuck off.
So, but then, you know, AEW's or Samoa Joe's first pay-per-view, he's not on it.
Unless they just shoehorn in Joe versus Lethal for the pay-per-view, which I think is a genuine possibility here.
Yeah. But like, then that'll be like a fucking 10-match card.
More. It's 10 matches now.
Jesus Christ.
And, right, keep in mind, no,
MJF
it's 10.
MJF
Wardlow, which is 11. Potentially Joe versus Lethal, which is 12. And then maybe Scorpio Sky, Sammy Guevara, Frankie Kazarian, Ethan Page amalgamation. Or take Conti and Paige Van Zandt in there as well somehow.
Yeah, that's not on the card either.
That's not on the card. It's because Paige Van Zandt has a bare knuckle fight coming up.
Oh, really? Okay.
And she's focusing on that. But because that was the whole thing.
Don't start the angle then. You
know? No, but this was exactly. But this is the problem with having like wrestlers. The same with like Hager and Bellator. Do you know what I mean? He just disappears every now and again.
Yeah.
And like, it's because remember that? Do you remember that thing where it was like, we'll give you the title match if you give us the mixed tag match.
Yeah.
And it looked like that was what we were going to get at the pay-per-view, and then.
Nope. Yeah, but be more organised, you know, like figure.
Oh, out. I know.
But yeah, okay.
So you think it's gonna be Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole,
yeah.
And who wins?
Kyle O'Reilly.
Do you think?
Yeah.
Don't know about that. I don't know. I think Adam Cole might take this whole thing. I think he was my pick to win from the start. So I think he's gonna win the whole thing. I don't think it matters if it's Joe or O'Reilly. I kind of want it to be Joel, but I don't want. I want it to be Joel with no string. Huh?
Kyle O'Reilly's Canadian.
True. He is Canadian. Yes.
Kyle O'Reilly is humorous in his wrestling, like Owen Hart was.
It would be cool for Kyle O'Reilly to win it. It would be cool, but like I wouldn't be disappointed. I'm also like I want to see Adam Cole versus Samoa Joe, but I don't want to see with strings attached, i.e. fucking giant Great Khali 2.0 wandering around at ringside.
Waddling to the ring.
Fucking Great Khali at home over there.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm gonna go Kyle O'Reilly versus Adam Cole. I'm gonna go Adam Cole, baby. And finally, the main event. It is the AEW World Championship match. It is AEW World Champion Hangman Adam Page defending his title against CM Punk. It's a blockbuster match. It's a match that was going to come sooner rather than later, i.e. Punk in the world title match, you know, against who that may be. I think we're all a bit surprised that it's Adam Page. But yeah, we're here. And I'm looking forward to it. John, I'm looking forward to it. Again, I reiterate that we're recording this before Dynamite on Wednesday, tomorrow. They're having a face-to-face confrontation tomorrow. I feel like that could be like a promo of the year segment. Yeah. So, yeah, anyway. Page versus Punk. Who do you have him win? Who do you have him win? Punk.
It has to be Punk.
I think so too, yeah.
I think you are severely handcuffing Adam Page if he wins here. It's been a lackluster reign. People are ready to see it end.
Has it been the weakest world title reign in the short...
In AEW?
Yeah.
Oh, by far.
As in the world title, I mean.
By far.
Like, I know you only have 4 champions there, but when you look at the 3 other ones that came before him...
Yeah. Jericho was great, Moxley was great.
Moxley was the best. In my
opinion. I think Omega's... I know Omega's was a bit strange, but
I thought Moxley's was the best, to be honest. I thought Omega's got a bit silly, like, do you know what I mean?
I know it did, yeah, but I think in terms of longevity and...
Well, like, yeah, it was the longest, but I think that doesn't always equate the best.
Yeah,
do you know? I think Moxley...
Yeah, maybe Moxley, yeah.
Moxley defended it every other week. All his matches were brilliant. Yeah. The range of opponents, the way he... Like, I think the fact that he found different ways to win. There was, like, a string of matches there where he won every single match in a different fashion.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but, like...
I just think by far and away Hangman Page has been the worst. I think Hangman Page is...
No, that's not to say it's been a bad run. It just hasn't been an exceptional.
It just hasn't been up to standard. I think it's been... I think what Page is a victim to is that Tony Khan made up his mind probably a year before he gave Page the title that Page was going to be the champion after Omega.
Oh, yeah.
And that made sense at the time. But then, within that year, you had people like Bryan Danielson come in. You had people like Punk, Adam Cole, who are, and it's no disrespect to Adam Page,
but they're established, stars, like, yeah,
much bigger stars, and people,
especially CM Punk for crying out loud. Do you know what I mean?
Rather see win the title.
Yeah, and
I think.
Or, well, at least you put Kenny Omega and CM Punk in the main event for pay-per-view for the world title. That shit's going to be the highest selling match in AEW
Adam
history.
Page and Punk isn't.
It's not. It's a match I want to see, but
it is.
But I know I'd rather see.
Yeah.
And look, I don't want to sound like this because I'm pure like hypocritical of myself now because like I was like Hangman versus Kenny was the best story that they've ever run but
it was about the chase.
It was about the chase, and you also I totally agree with that. Like they decided, like at Revolution 2020 that Hangman was going to be the world champion after Kenny.
Yeah.
And Kenny wasn't even the champion at that point.
They haven't deviated from those plans.
They're like, this is what we have to do, and like this is something that AEW are. So like WWE don't do that at all, and AEW do it too much.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Like, I think this is kind of the negative effects of long-term booking.
Yeah, you're like, you don't take into account, like, because plans change.
Because
circumstances change.
You've lost. I think AEW could be in a bigger position or a better position as a company if you had someone like Bryan Danielson as your champion. As opposed
potentially
to Hangman Page. I think more recognition. Like Bryan Danielson. You're talking about a guy who headlined WrestleMania
last year.
Yeah, when he came in, it was only the last match he wrestled was the headline of WrestleMania.
It was a world title match.
But it was a world
against
title
Roman
match
Reigns.
Roman Reigns.
Yeah,
but like, okay, 2 matches before he came in was the headline of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was like you're talking the top of the top in terms of stars in WWE coming over.
Arguably the best wrestler in the world.
Arguably the biggest star they'd signed, other than CM Punk. And that's still arguable. You could still argue that at that time in wrestling, Daniel Bryan is still a bigger star. So, having Hangman Page isn't on their level in terms of recognition, in terms of star.
I think he can get there. I think he can get there. I think he's a star, and I think in terms of like homegrown talent, if you want to call him that, as in, i.e., guy who hadn't made his name in WWE.
Yeah.
I think him and MJF are probably the biggest they have.
Yeah.
and like I think they're on their way to, like, if AEW keeps progressing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, they will be those at that level. Not now, but there's not like, and look, that's not Hangman's fault by any standard. I think he's done the best he could, but I think when you come back, when Hangman, I think, will eventually win the title again, somewhere down the road, I think like it'll be a far bigger deal. It'll be a bigger title reign. It'll be a like, I won it, but I don't think I was ready to be champion. Now I'm ready. Now I know what it takes. Do you know?
Here's what I kind of want. Right? I want Punk to turn heel here.
Yeah, I'm kind of sick shit of fucking. I'm so happy to be in place name here, CM Punk.
Oh, well, in fairness, like, he's been doing less of that now. Like, the Long Island, when he was in Long Island 2 weeks ago or last week or whatever it was, like, he kind of a heelish promo there.
But I think like the money with Punk is heel.
Yeah.
Because like, yes, it was the biggest return in wrestling. Probably.
I think he's had his nostalgia.
This is what I'm saying. Yeah.
I think it's time now to actually get the business.
The nostalgia has worn off. Yeah. And you claim that you're going to be a full-time wrestler here. Like, okay, prove it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You say, Joe, Edge is like a brilliant example right now.
Yeah.
Edge is like the perfect example right now because he was like, okay, we get it, you're back, but like,
it's time to be.
You want
a character.
Yeah,
like,
you want to prove something.
Character.
Yeah, you want to prove something. Like, you want to prove that you want to get time back.
It's time for make up for last time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, and the nostalgia act works. Like, it worked for Edge for a year or two. You know, and I think, you know, when these people come back, and I think Punk was the same. I think they have kind of a list in mind of things I want to kind of do. You know, before I properly develop my character again. Or develop my character again. I want to, you know, just kind of be CM Punk for a while, come in, and you know he had the incredible moments, you know, the return with Darby, you know, we finally got the return. Then, you know, you had the Ring of Honor entrance and the Ring of Honor theme with MJF and the callbacks to all that, you know, the promo and him hung like he did to Raven and stuff like that. Like, but now it's now is about, okay, we've looked at the past now. We've revisited the past as much as we can with CM Punk. Now it's looking towards, okay, let's get to work on the
what
future.
Can we do next?
What can we do now? So I think changing his character, turning him heel.
Yeah. I'd
love to see. I think there's value then in another Hangman chase, where I think you could have Punk win the title, and then do a similar thing like you did with Kenny and Hangman, where you have him spiral the whole way down and spiral the whole way back up, and have him maybe be the one to beat Punk in like 6 months' time again, but like have Punk have his reign then.
Yeah.
You know, you could play up to the fact again. You know, you had the whole fucking Hangman alcoholism shit. You've Punk who's straight edge. You know, I saw I saw a thing about like you could even not redo it verbatim, but like do a kind of straight edge society type Punk thing
Jeff
with
Hardy.
Hangman again, and have him, you know, feud with people like Jeff Hardy again. You know, and there's other feuds from there, you know, as a heel now. There's plenty of babyface for him to work with. Because this whole thing was, you know, coming in, he wants to work with the young guys. I think he's worked with all the young heels now that he can.
I want to see Punk versus Jungle Boy. I want to see Punk versus Jungle Boy and be like, I remember you being in the front row when I beat the shit out of your hero Jeff Hardy. Or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, and watching your dearly departed dad. And all this kind of stuff. Like,
because this is the Punk you miss. You know.
This kind of shit. I just get myself goosebumps. But what you call it? And like, who else is there? Like, there's fucking like the roster's huge. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many people.
Because again, you could going back to the Jungle Boy thing. Like, you could have like, oh, your fucking Hollywood junkie dad, you know, and all this.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, you could have the straight edge thing again. Like, but I'm ready for Punk to turn heel now. Jaw
be brilliant. I love for them to do the Derby feud again, but with Punk fully heel and be like, if your alcoholic uncle hadn't crashed that car, you know what I mean, you wouldn't be lucky enough to be in this ring with me. So like,
stuff like that. Yeah.
Count your blessings, he's dead, or some shit like that. Just this fucking evil shit that Punk could do. Because I think this is the thing that like. Punk as a heel in WWE, right, was brilliant, and it was like groundbreaking shit, and it's why Punk is so big now.
Yeah.
But like have him be that star now, but cut the promos he cut in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the fucking
the greatest thing to ever do.
Yeah. The evil shit that like people were like
the Raven feud.
Exactly, yeah.
Like I want to see the guy who hung Jimmy Jacobs.
That's what I'm saying. Like Jimmy, I want to see some Jimmy Jacobs shit.
Yeah,
like, do you know what I mean? Like,
and fucking had the blood dripping down on his white suit as he cut a promo.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to see. I want to see that Punk.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had enough of the I'm so happy return to wrestling. Yeah. We've had now our fun with CM Punk's back now. Now it's time to now I want to see what made you CM Punk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely. I wholeheartedly agree. And I think Punk should win and turn heel. I think it's time, and I think they will do it.
Do you put him with people, or is he solely Punk?
I'd like him to be solely Punk, because I kind of want him to be like, I'm CM Punk. I don't need anyone.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do I need people for? I'd love to see like something like, do you know what, right? You talked about Serena Deeb joining the Blackpool Combat Club. What if Serena Deeb comes to CM Punk and is like, oh, remember us? Yeah. We were like, I believe in you. Like, I believe in what you're saying. And then he just beats GTS's her. Yeah, or something like that. Like, and you could have that be the catalyst for her joining the Blackpool Combat Club or something.
Yeah.
And then like, just something like that. Like, he's like, I don't need people. Like, I came back because I wanted to, not because he wanted me to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I came back for a shitload of money and to prove something to myself, not to any of you. So like, I don't think he needs someone. And like you said, right, factions are as common as muck in AEW.
Yeah.
So like, having this guy be by himself at the top of the mountain, fair enough. Like let him do that. Like look at, right, 3 out of 4 world champions now in AEW have had people around them. Like Kenny had the Elite, Jericho had the Inner Circle, and Hangman to an extent had the Dark Order. Whereas
Hangman won the title and then just
fucking sacked them off. Yeah, but like used them like a fucking like a cheap rug. But Moxley was the only person who didn't really have anyone around him that I can remember off the top of my head. But
yeah, it was he only started hanging around with Eddie Kingston when he lost the title.
He lost the title, yeah. So yeah, I don't think he needs anyone. I don't think he does. I think he'd be better by himself as this almost like omnipotent Punk, as this like, I am CM Punk. I know I'm CM Punk. I know I'm the fucking best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah.
I didn't want to come back to wrestling for 7 years because I didn't want to.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I am not accountable for anything I do because I'm CM Punk.
Yeah.
I walk away from this company, it loses money. Like, play up to that shit. Like, you know, like we spent 20 minutes talking at the start of this podcast that like no one is that necessary to a company that they can walk away. Have him be like, if I choose to walk away, this company ceases to exist. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, have him be that guy who thinks he's bigger than the company, and then have Tony Khan send his army to stop him, but none of them can because he is CM Punk, and he is part of what he's saying is true.
Like, yeah, I think I don't want the whole thing to get lost either in the fact that it's 2022 and we're potentially going to see CM Punk be world champion.
Yeah.
Again, after 11 years or so.
Yeah.
It's like wrestling is pretty cool like that. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Is it?
That's the card, yeah. That's it.
I think that's kind of all we have to talk about. Is there any other news and notes?
Not that I can think of. Not until after. I mean, Best Super Junior started in Japan. That's slowly ticking away. It's the first proper tournament in a while, because they have people over from overseas, the likes of Wheeler Yuta, like I said, Ace Austin, Alex Zane, all in the tournament. So that's ticking along nicely. Some New Japan shit happened a couple of weeks ago with Juice Robinson turning heel, joining Bullet Club. Now he's the US champion again. He defeated Tanahashi, Moxley, and Ospreay in a 4-way match.
And we'll have the Forbidden Door.
Forbidden Door is in a couple of weeks. That'll probably be, or when's Hell in a Cell? Can't remember when Hell in a Cell is, but we'll probably be doling out 2 more episodes in the next month.
Yeah.
Because we have to do Hell in a Cell and we'll have to do Forbidden Door. So
Hell in a Cell is the 6th of June.
Yeah, so that's next week. Shit. So we guess we have an episode coming next week. So yeah, but that's it. That's about it, really. There's been nothing more substantial I can think of.
Forbidden Door is the 26th of June.
Yeah, I knew that already because I already saw that today. I actually didn't know when Hell in a Cell was. So yeah, if that's everything, you have nothing else to say?
No. I think that's pretty much it.
Cool.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll talk to you soon. And yeah, enjoy the shows.